Hello, this is John Key, Prime Minister of New Zealand. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Auckland Civil Defence for putting together this DVD. It's a very sensible guide to making sure that we are all prepared in the event of a natural disaster occurring. As we can see from the two earthquakes that took place in Christchurch, a natural disaster can strike at any time. It's really important that people have a plan, they know what to do, and they have supplies so that they are prepared. So in the course of watching this DVD, I hope you'll find it both useful and an important tool for you and your family as you prepare for a potential natural disaster. Good on you, Auckland Civil Defence, and for everyone watching this DVD, make sure you do follow the plan and make sure you do have those supplies. You never know when they'll come in handy.
This is 3 News.
We interrupt this program to bring you an update following a major earthquake off the coast of Chile. There is a risk of a tsunami.
Red Cross 800?
Yes, the 0800 Red Cross. They're the ones who has been a national...
Clive Manley is the Auckland Civil Defence Controller, and he's well rehearsed for such an emergency.
Civil defence is very much about working with communities, working with government agencies, working with people who've got some skill or resource that they can apply to make sure that when the worst thing happens, that we target the resource we do have into those areas that really need it.
To protect you and your family, there are some basic principles. Stay watching to discover them. Learn about the hazards and disasters that could affect you.
Got everything? Torch and spare batteries.
Yep, done.
It's about being ready. Know how to respond. Learn first aid. And is advised to evacuate, stay inside your home and listen to your radio for civil defence information.
Civil Defence has issued a mandatory evacuation order for Mission Bay. The following streets need to evacuate to ASB Stadium Sports Centre, Tamaki Drive, numbers 100.
December 2010 Queensland floods.
Everything this man owns has gone.
March 2011 Japan quake and tsunami.
Oil refineries which were set ablaze by the earthquake continue to burn.
And over a period of 6 months, Christchurch is hit by 2 major earthquakes. Nobody could have foreseen the precise impact and scale of these events. To get through a disaster, getting ready can be the crucial step to keeping you and your family safe. Helping your neighbours becomes crucial, as it can often take time for emergency services and other agencies to provide assistance.
I really would urge communities who are just listening to these sort of messages, organise yourselves with your neighbours and organisations you may be with, and work out how you can help each other.
New Zealand is located on the Pacific Ring of Fire. The land area of New Zealand sits on both the Australian and the Pacific tectonic plates. Records show that New Zealand is prone to geological upheaval. It's easy to overlook the impact that can result. When mountains slip and the earth shakes, people and property may be affected. Auckland has a history of volcanic activity, as the volcanic cones around the city show. However, a volcanic eruption is only one of the potential hazards that you could experience. And because you never know when a disaster is going to happen, you need to be ready.
This is Nightline with Sasha McNeil.
We now bring you the latest update on the major earthquake off the coast of Chile earlier today. Civil Defence has confirmed a tsunami has been generated and has issued a national tsunami warning.
This is a National Civil Defence Emergency Broadcast warning. A mandatory evacuation is likely for large areas of coastal New Zealand. A tsunami from the earthquake off the coast of Chile is expected to arrive here in 6 hours. Prepare and be ready to evacuate and stay listening for further instructions. I'll repeat this emergency warning. It is a National Civil Defence Emergency Broadcast.
Create a plan. This should include a safe place to shelter in your home during an emergency. Make it an area where you can remain for 24 hours or longer until Civil Defence and Emergency Services evaluate the situation. Work out how you'd contact family members and those who could assist and support you during an emergency. Learn about the Civil Defence warning system in your area. And make sure every adult in the house knows where to disconnect essential services such as water, gas and electricity. If you have a disability, make provision for someone to check you have heard the emergency warnings and are able to evacuate if necessary, or get the support needed. Every household should also have emergency items, which are checked regularly. Many items you need will be part of what you use in the everyday running of your home. If items are used, replace them. Everyone should have enough supplies to last at least 3 days and contain essential items such as a portable torch with spare batteries, at least one working transistor radio with spare batteries, and a first aid kit. If you have a disability or medical condition, add to your emergency items any specialist equipment or medicines that you use.
Some type of disasters, the best place is staying in your home, but you've got no outside help. So you need to think about how could you live in your home without basics like water, power and those other things. The other scenario is that you're going to have to leave your home very quickly, and when that happens you need to know where things are that you need.
These include important documents such as passports, birth certificates, wills and insurance policies. Also medicines, baby's immediate needs, extra warm clothing, toiletries, towels and blankets. If you need to leave in a hurry, make sure everyone is dressed appropriately, including sensible shoes. Ensure your neighbours are aware you're evacuating and help them if needed. You'll want to take your pets with you, so make sure you have a secure way of transporting them. Also, that they have a collar with your contact details. If using the roads, Civil Defence will work with the relevant agencies to aid evacuation and ease congestion.
This is our newsroom in Sendai, northern Japan.
It was 8,000 times more powerful than the Christchurch earthquake. It struck a country more prepared than any other to handle a tsunami. But nothing could stop a force like this. And when it hit Japan, it did so with devastating effect.
So we've covered how you, your family and your community can prepare for a civil defence emergency. But now, let's look at some specific hazards in more detail and how you can plan for them. What we're covering are the key points only. We start with a look at the volcanic risk for Auckland.
There is a risk for volcanoes in Auckland. The experts tell us there will be telltale signs of a volcano before it erupts. So we're advised there will be warning. So we will have to evacuate maybe a 5-kilometre area, for instance, away from a volcano. But most of the real damage will be done by the ash that is deposited from a volcano. So even a distant volcano could impact Auckland.
Unless told to evacuate, stay indoors and listen to your radio for civil defence information. Close windows and doors. Save water, as supply can become contaminated. If asked to leave, protect your eyes from ash, wear a dust mask and carry a torch.
We group tsunamis into 2 classes. One is the distant tsunami. With a distant tsunami, we generally can have, could be 10 hours warning, 5 hours warning before it occurs, so we can evacuate areas in time for it. You can get sudden tsunamis. If you have an earthquake out in the ocean quite close, then literally it can be hours or minutes when it does hit the land. And this is where people just need to look for those telltale signs. If the sea suddenly rushes out, these are all telltale signs that something's big happening. The natural instinct for people to go to beaches to have a look, that is not the thing to do. There's a lot of deaths have occurred through curiosity.
If you're in the tsunami evacuation zone, take your essential items and move quickly but safely to high ground inland. Listen to your radio. Stay calm. Although New Zealand experiences thousands of earthquakes every year, most pass unnoticed, but a severe earthquake can occur at any time.
You okay?
No, she needs an ambulance.
What happened?
We were in that building that just collapsed.
Basically, an earthquake, depending on how it strikes, can be very sudden and very devastating. So with an earthquake, it's a well-known fact that the people who save the most lives are often your friends and neighbours who are immediately at hand.
Practice the earthquake drill. Drop, cover, and hold. Identify safe places such as under a strong table, next to an interior wall away from windows and tall furniture. Protect your head and neck with your arms if there's nothing to shelter under. If the building you're in is damaged, get outside to find a safe, open place. If possible, help people around you. Situated in the roaring 40s, New Zealand is prone to storms and strong winds. A cyclone or major storm can cause considerable damage.
Storms, wind, it's certainly power is very susceptible to wind, so we can put up with a lot of rain and it may cause flooding, but when this is coupled with a high wind, it does take the power out. And also, it makes it very dangerous for emergency services and people travelling around.
Before the storm arrives, tie items down that may become airborne or remove them indoors. Garden furniture, roofing iron and rubbish bins can turn into lethal projectiles. Bring pets inside and move stock to shelter. Close curtains and stay away from doors and windows in the strongest part of the house. Listen to your radio or TV for civil defence information. During electrical storms, stay away from metal and electrical fixtures. Do not drive unless absolutely necessary. Storms can often bring heavy rain, which leads us to the common hazard of flooding.
We generally have a good warning system that tells us that heavy rain events could be on the way. So we would normally know areas that are susceptible to flood, and hopefully we've got some alarm system or warning system where community can, if it's a farming area, can get their stock away. If it's a more built-up area, we can evacuate from houses.
A picture of trauma, weak but alive. It's a scene that's been repeated many times.
To be prepared, find out about the worst flood in your area. How high did the water reach? How would it affect your home? Know how to reach the nearest, safest higher ground. Don't go into floodwaters alone. And don't go sightseeing. Disconnect electrical appliances and all power and gas.
The earth moved in Albany last night, leaving behind a big brown hole and a bad case of midwinter misery.
If it is safe to, the general rule is to stay put and listen to your radio or TV. But in the case of landslips, common sense may dictate you leave the building.
A cool store no longer.
Not all hazards and emergencies are from natural causes. They can also be caused by chemical spills, transport accidents, and even major infrastructure failure such as power outages. Many of these are very localised, though the responses are similar as we've covered for natural hazards. The effects of pandemics such as bird flu or swine flu can be far-reaching.
We are very definitely under pressure. All the staff are feeling it, and it's mainly due to increasing patient numbers in the department.
We usually think with disasters that someone else from outside the area will come in and help. With a pandemic, it does affect everyone just the same. So police get affected by a pandemic, so does the health service, so do your families. So all services are greatly constrained.
During a pandemic, it is likely medical services will become overwhelmed and schools and businesses may close. You need to prepare yourself to deal with possible illness and other effects of a pandemic. In summary, it's about being ready. Learn about the hazards that could affect you. Create and practice an emergency plan. Assemble and maintain emergency items, and have a getaway kit in case you need to leave in a hurry.
A large-scale disaster can happen at any time, and we need to all be ready and prepared for it. I hope that having watched this DVD, you now better understand the importance of preparedness and readiness. If you are ready and prepared and have planned for such a disaster, and we as a city and as a people have prepared and have planned, then Auckland, as a consequence, in the event of a disaster, will be a much safer place to be.
The information we've covered is also in the series of Get Ready, Get Through brochures and resources on the inside back cover of the Yellow Pages and on the Auckland Civil Defence and Emergency Management website at aucklandcivildefence.org.nz.